Welcome everybody to the War and Peace Baseball Podcast. I'm here today with Forbode Markazi, Alex Rudy, I'm Alex Uwe, and we are going to talk about a bunch of free agent signings that have happened in the last couple weeks, as well as play a new game where we are each going to be a GM and make deals with each other, and it'll be a lot of fun, make some mock trade situation type action, and we'll negotiate and talk about what we think, and maybe, just maybe, one of these will actually happen in real life. And then we'll close it out with our teams of the week, the Pirates and the Reds. So let's get started by talking about the Red Sox signing David Price to the largest pitcher contract of all time, 7 years, $217 million. What were your initial reactions to that?
Wait, I have a correction. Isn't the formerly biggest contract of all time?
No, it's still the biggest contract it's the most money committed of all time.
Oh, okay, most money committed.
Okay. Before we start saying anything, I have to say a little disclaimer. We do not hate David Price. I should say that. We just don't exactly like this deal. Okay, I'm gonna say one thing. I'm gonna take you guys back to 2012 because this is the only time I remember from.
2012 is the only year you remember.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, this is when Poole signed with the Angels, and then everyone was talking about how if his contract was gonna pay off or not. Obviously, we know how it's gone for the first 3 years. But I was watching some show, I forget what it was. One of the analysts said that a player is worth what their market is and what they negotiate. And I think yes, David Price has signed the largest deal for a pitcher to ever sign, but that doesn't necessarily make him the best pitcher in the game, obviously not. And he was the best one available and the best one the Red Sox believe they had their shot at. So, good for him. I mean, I don't think he's gonna care that he's making $31 million when he's throwing 85 for the Red Sox in 7 years, but good for him. His agent negotiated a really good deal for him.
Okay, Rudy, do you have any problems with that whole spiel? Because I kind of do.
I don't even know where to begin, to be quite honest.
So, first of all, what an Angels fan bringing up an Albert Pujols contract when we're talking about David Price 3 years after Albert Pujols signed that deal. Second of all, David Price is not the best pitcher on the free agent market, and he's not the only pitcher that the Red Sox thought they could get. They just committed to him for whatever reason.
Well, no, okay. I said best shot at getting him, because
no, they could have gone after Zach Greinke instead, clearly.
But would they have had a better shot at? Because I think with Price having already been with Dave Dombrowski, I think they thought they had a better shot at getting him over Johnny Cueto or over Zach Greinke.
Okay. I'm not inside the head of Dombrowski, but if they clearly committed to Price, they had their pick of a top pitcher and they went after Price. And, rightfully so, he is still a top pitcher in the game. And we're talking way down the line where his velocity is going to decline, obviously, but, you're going to get him for some good years at the beginning of this deal. So, people always seem to forget about that. Yeah, so Rudy, what were your thoughts initially?
I mean, to me, 3 years of a lot of happiness for Red Sox fans and 4 years of pain and sorrow for what they're paying. I mean, I think it's fair market value. It's what he deserves. It's what, the market said for him. It's what you have to pay for that top talent, for a Cy Young winner. But, I mean, I wouldn't call it a bargain or a steal by any means. I would say it's a wash contract. I wouldn't say it's particularly good or bad for them. I would say it's a wash. It's a great addition, a great get, and you're showing up their biggest weakness, which was their starting pitching, obviously, but at the same time, that is a lot of money, a lot of years to commit to a 30-year-old power pitching left-hander. And we saw with CC Sabathia is that that's a very, not a very guaranteed, it's not a move with a lot of guarantee to it. So I don't really think there's really much to it. I think we see this deal every offseason happen to someone.
Yeah, so, it's interesting how big the price gap seems to be between a number one pitcher in rotation and a number two guy. I'm going to bring up another trade, or not, another signing in Jordan Zimmerman. Tigers signed him to a 5-year, $110 million deal, and he's not an ace guy, but he is definitely a solid number two that is making $100 million less.
I mean,
and that's some interesting
I would 100%
value.
say that that's a better contract in every way.
Yeah, and that seems to be the trend for all teams, and even in past years, Max Scherzer making the $200+ million contract deal, and maybe like a guy like John Lester making 150, like considerably less for one spot lower in the rotation theoretically, and over time they're gonna balance out a little bit, because Max Scherzer right now is a top pitcher in the game, and then who knows, in 5 years there's always risk no matter who you're signing. So it's interesting just to get 3 or 4 good years out of a top of the line starting pitcher. You pay considerably more than if you were to go after a number 2 or 3 pitcher.
It's almost like the market's like exponential.
Yes.
To a degree.
Yes, it is. So we can talk about this signing a little bit too. What do you think of that for the Tigers, signing Jordan Zimmerman?
I think it's an excellent deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's like 29.
Well,
he had Tommy John like 5 years ago now, so it was about that. So he clearly is not affected by that. He's back. He's a very solid, consistent pitcher year in, year out. Gives you gives you good innings every season after season. Is he flashy? Is he the best guy? No, but I mean, I think
he's a guy that's going to make every start.
I think any team could use a Jordan Zimmerman.
He's a guy that's going to make every start. He's a guy that's going to go deep in games. He's a really solid guy. And I was going to actually say something about the price that you brought up, that Uwe brought up, about the one versus the two. It's amazing how the market's gotten to the point that $22 million seems like it's not that much compared to what the other guys are getting, especially because he's not necessarily the ace guy. He's a really good number two, and I think it's a good deal. I think it's definitely gonna benefit from being in the pitching in Comerica.
Yeah, and for Jordan Zimmerman in this free agent market, I compare him to John Lester last year, and he's making considerably less money than John Lester got from the Cubs, but I view him as that same kind of, he doesn't have that same power stuff, but he's an aggressive pitcher that gets through a lot of innings and has a lot of experience and can be a big contributor to a rotation. And, if that's kind of what you're paying for, is, that experience. And you see a lot of these number one guys with experience getting that kind of money, and then seeing Jordan Zimmerman, even if he doesn't have the same raw stuff as these other pitchers, he's still bringing that same leadership experience element to a rotation regardless. So, I think you look at a rotation with both him, Verlander, and who else do the Tigers really have? They kind of needed to go after a guy like this.
And
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's the best deal of the offseason so far.
All right. Let's go ahead and talk about the biggest annual salary of the offseason so far, and of all time, in fact. The Diamondbacks signed Zach Greinke to a 6-year, $206.5 million contract. That is upwards of $34 million annually on average. That's an absurd amount of money. Oh my gosh. Zach Greinke is making bank.
Huh.
Why the sigh, Farbode?
I'm trying to decide where to start on this. Because I was honestly I was shocked that he even left the Dodgers, that there was talks about him signing off. I thought, oh yeah, the Giants were involved. I thought, okay, maybe maybe I thought he was just gonna go back to the Dodgers, but for maybe a larger deal. But this is really, I was shocked when he went to the Diamondbacks that we heard of, that they were even in the talks like that morning.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good place to start is, wow, the Diamondbacks. Yeah, Rudy, go ahead.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
This deal makes no sense for the Diamondbacks. They're so, they've been horribly mismanaged for about 3 years now, considering the talent that's flowed in and out of their team. And this is just another example because I think just a few months ago they traded away a horrendous Bronson Royal contract, and now the number 3 overall prospect in the Atlanta Braves system just to get rid of him. So they signed a pitcher and then immediately traded him and a top 3 prospect just to get rid of that money. And then I just spent money all over again on a pitcher who's who's 32 years old and is now making over half the payroll from last year. I mean, they're not a well-run organization. There's no plan. There's no long-term outlook. They're constantly contradicting their strategies between long-term and short-term, and they're stuck in limbo because of it. I mean, this team has a lot more issues than just, one ace. I mean, they need a shortstop, they need a catcher, they need a second baseman, they need a rotation. I mean, they could use a better third baseman. They could use depth. I mean, this money would have been way better spent on 3 or 5 solid players than one ace.
Mm-hmm. That's a fair argument just in general with GMs spending their money. Is it better to go after, balance, or is it better to go after the big guy that'll really give your team an advantage in one certain area? And I'm going to go ahead and defend the Diamondbacks a little bit here because, I think part of their problem in past years has been they've been going after this kind of weak stuff, this kind of, we'll sign Mike Leake to help us out, they've been going into the international market a lot. They've been making a lot of riskier acquisitions there that aren't really, the big deals. And now I think with Zach Greinke, they're kind of saying we're done going beating around the bush, going after the little deals to try to be effective that way. We're gonna go and spend the money that needs to be spent to get a top guy like this. That everybody wants Zach Greinke, but not everybody wants to pay for Zach Greinke. But somebody's gonna end up paying for Zach Greinke, and the Diamondbacks are being aggressive now. And now they have an MVP, an MVP candidate, and a Cy Young candidate. That right there is more than pretty much any other team in the major leagues has, except for a few other teams. So that is really what they're going for now. I think they've decided to be aggressive for it. It's at this point, with the holes in their infield and, any other holes in their rotation or whatever, they can fill that in with whatever they've got, and they can make those bargainy type moves there. But that's after the fact. That's after they really went in and accomplished what they needed to get done, and that was to get a guy like Zach Greinke.
Yeah, but how can you trade away a top prospect to save money, and then in the same...
Okay, that was a different deal, though.
But
and
how
that was...
You have no vision, and you have no plan. If you make those 2 moves in the same season, you're not a well-run organization.
I agree with Rudy. I don't understand what... I want to know what the Diamondbacks think they are doing. Because, okay, obviously I don't fault them in thinking Zach Greinke's a really great pitcher, because we all know that. But I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know if they're trying to not win right now or if they're trying to win for the future. It's because they make so many different types of moves for, developing guys for the future and then trading them away for right now. I don't understand what's going on. They have a lot of holes. But on the Zach Greinke side, I like that his deal's a year less in price, because I've said this before, I don't like giving pitchers long-term deals. And
it's a 6-year deal. It's pretty long term.
That's pretty long.
It's long, but it's a year less. And Greinke's different in that he doesn't necessarily rely on blowing his fast hitters. He has really good command.
They have, I think there's a bunch, I think like $60 million of the contract is deferred for 6 years after it ends.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting addition.
Yeah, the details of the contract aside, Furbo asked why go after Zach Greinke? Are they trying to win now? Explain to me why they can't win now, because they finished around 500 last year, and they have an MVP candidate. They have an amazing center fielder too. They have two perennial all-star players now, and even some of the other spots around the infield, their outfield is solid. They have a solid outfield. They have, their infield. It's rough right now, but it's easier to fill in holes with cheaper guys that, like, the Diamondbacks really didn't care about their infield at all last year, and I think they're gonna do more. They're gonna be more active. They were too passive with their infield. They were trying to give guys too many chances, and that didn't work out for them. They do have a catcher, by the way. His name is Wellington Castillo, and he is not a bad catcher.
I know. Okay, I like.
Sorry, Rudy.
He isn't a good catcher.
He's a catcher. He's not a hole.
Well, I disagree with you.
Wow. Okay.
For me, I don't find the catcher spot a hole. I love Goldschmidt, obviously. I love Pauly. And they have an ace now, but I don't think you can necessarily. I think at best this would be like a wild card contending team, because even then I don't know if they would contend for the division.
Okay, wild card contending is still contending.
But then in the National League, when the NL Central has it locked down.
Okay, you can't think like that. You can't think like, oh well, the NL Central's obviously got the wild card, so we're just not going to try anymore.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
I believe that they can actually win this division.
I believe that they will win. No.
And
explain why though.
No, you explained it. You already explained why they're.
So you agree with me that they are there.
I do agree that they.
I think they're almost there. I don't think they're necessarily. I think they have to fill in some holes. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't believe that they can necessarily win the division, surpass the Dodgers or whoever else wants to contend in that division yet. I think they need to fill in some holes.
My issue is, okay, here's the thing. No team's gonna have, unless you're the Cardinals, you're not gonna find a team that has no holes. So I do think it's unrealistic.
Oh no, obviously, yeah.
To expect, and they have a top shortstop prospect coming up. I mean, not coming up, just drafted. They still have Archie Bradley and Brandon Shipley to bolster the pitching. But my issue is that I just don't see the direction. I mean, if they're gonna be win now, they need to spend even more money. I mean, if this was the only amount of money they were willing to spend, and this was a one deal thing, and this is their off season, I think they're the same old Diamondbacks that have no direction. If they're willing to commit and spend, let's say, $30 million more this off season total to fill in their spots, at the most, then I can really back them and see if they're heading in a new direction. But at the moment, I think they're at a major crossroads, and they have to make a decision if they're going to commit to winning now. They need to commit winning now, and they can't continue this back and forth inconsistency.
Yeah, and the Diamondbacks have said that they are going. They have said they are going after more pitching this off season. That they've confirmed this. They seem very into what they're doing. They seem like they're trying to win now.
I don't even know if they need more starting pitching, to be honest. I think
that's what they're going. They said they're trying to acquire more pitching.
I think Patrick Corbin, De La Rosa, Robbie Ray, Chase Anderson, Greinke's good enough. I think they need a middle infielder much more.
But like you said, they're not trying to be good enough. They're trying to do something.
Yeah,
they're trying to get somewhere.
They should be signed like Ian Desmond.
That might happen. You don't know that.
Well,
Ian Desmond, sign him to a 4-year, $75 million deal or something. You can fit that on your payroll.
I think they'd be the best team in the NLS by far. Then I'm not a fan of the Dodgers at all. And the Giants are obviously, those are obviously two teams that they thought they were probably getting Greinke, so they're clearly going to be weakened by, this deal.
Yeah, let's talk about the Giants a little bit. They just signed a starting pitcher. They signed Jeff Samardzija to a 5-year, $90 million contract.
Panic. It was a panic deal, without a doubt.
I don't know about that, because let's rewind a little bit to when Jeff Samardzija was one of the top trade assets for the Cubs. The Giants were one of the top teams in on Jeff Samardzija. They clearly saw something that they liked in Jeff Samardzija. And then the whole A's fiasco, and then he got traded to the White Sox and had the worst season of his career.
He hasn't been good in a year and a half. Let that sink in. And then before that, he had one good. He really had one very above average season in his career.
So what you're saying is he can do it?
No, what I'm saying is that he's an overrated 31-year-old pitcher who doesn't deserve this kind of money. I think he is a good, solid guy. He throws mid-90s and chunks out a shit ton of innings. He doesn't deserve this amount of money.
Well, this amount of money is still less than $20 million annually.
And it's just over the qualifying offer.
Okay, we all had him making like $14 million a year.
Yeah, but that's because we didn't think he would get the years committed. The Giants clearly think that they can get some good years out of Samardzija.
I would rather have spent this money on Mike Leake, 100%.
That's possible too. Samardzija is a very different type of pitcher than Mike Leake is.
For
a little bit more of
a good pitcher is a good pitcher.
For me, I'm thinking I'm thinking that the Giants are basing this off that he is just a year and a half removed of being that guy for the Cubs, and then whatever happened with the A's. But then, I think, one thing, if you're trying to defend him, he pitched in one of the biggest hitter-friendly ballparks in the league last year. I'm not saying that's the reason he sucked.
And a terrible defense.
And a terrible defense. I'm not saying that's the reason he sucked. But he's going from one of the worst ballparks to pitch in to one of the best ballparks to pitch in. I'm not saying he's going to do great there, but I think that's going to definitely help him. And he is only a year and a half removed, and I'm going to believe. I'm going to hope he's going to be a lot better than he was last year.
I'm gonna bring a little bit of a fantasy angle into this too with Samardzija. So I'm in a keepers league and I have Samardzija in my reserves, and I had no expectation of keeping him. Like I think you dropped him earlier this season, Rudy, if I'm correct, and I ended up picking him up near the end of the season just because there's that free agent potential. And I gotta say, now that he's with the Giants, I'm really, this is a tough decision for me. I might end up keeping him. This is not a standard keeper league. It's an 18-player keeper league, so it's not your standard. It's normally like 9 or 8-player keeper. So, Samardzija is making this interesting to me. I think there's value there because at least at this point, I think he can be a positive pitcher, like in terms of points and fantasy value, that he will be a positive pitcher, and at best he will be, a top 1 or 2 type pitcher in your fantasy rotation. So
this screams to me Ricky Nolasco 2.0 personally.
Ooh, I don't think Samardzija is comparable to Ricky Nolasco.
Why?
I think Ricky Nolasco, stuff-wise and build-wise, was not the same.
If you
compare
their stats, I think they're more similar than you think.
Okay, again, you say that a good pitcher's a pitcher based on stats. Samardzija's build and Samardzija's stuff should play better than they had last year. They should. And I think the Giants,
not would.
And the White Sox clearly did something wrong with that too. And I think the Giants can get good. They can get some good stuff out of Samardzija. I think he will, at worst, be an average pitcher with the Giants.
I think they paid for Samardzija from 2 years ago, and the real Samardzija is someone between that and the one that was last year. I do admit, I don't think he's as bad as he was last year, but I do not see him returning to his peak levels ever again.
Over under 3.5 ERA.
I give him under at 3.4.
I think he's like about that. I think he's like a 3.4, 3.5.
3.7.
All right, those are our predictions. Keep those in the memory banks, okay? All right, that's gonna be it for the free agent signings, though, that we're gonna talk about. Those are the big ones.
No.
Yeah, Nori, he's getting no love. He signed another 1-year contract with the Mariners, and he signed there for the coffee.
I feel
I will
like
state
he's
that now.
the most underpaid player in the league. I don't get why there's no love for him.
I don't know. It's racist. Anyway, let's move on to our little GM game. So I'm going to go ahead and explain how it works a little more precisely. So we're going to have 3 deals total. Each of us are going to propose a trade to another one of us. So in each situation, 2 of us are going to be GMs, and the last person is just going to kind of sit in the sidelines and evaluate what they think, how they think the negotiation and trade went at the end of everything. So each of us are going to be GMs. One of us is going to propose a trade. The other GM will respond like they do in the major leagues and counter offer or accept right away or decline right away or do whatever they feel is right, and we'll try to have fun with it. And at the end, the third person will let us know what they think. Alright, so we're going to start off with Farbode proposing the first trade to me. Why don't you go ahead and tell him which team you're going to be?
I am the Texas Rangers, and Louis, you are the Cincinnati Reds.
Uh-huh.
I am looking for Aroldis Chapman. I'll give you Luke Jackson, Nomar Mazara, and Luis Brinson for Aroldis Chapman.
Okay, let me see who those people actually are first.
I can tell you who they
are. Get back to you momentarily. Go ahead and tell me.
I believe those were all made-up names.
Brinson is number 65 on the top 100, number 4 on our prospect list.
Mm-hmm.
Mazar's number 14 top 100, number 2 on our prospect list, and Jackson's number 8 in our system.
I see. Alright, and you want just Chapman?
Let me look at...
Oh my god, we can accept this immediately.
Alright, let's see if we can work something out. Let's
2
see.
top 5
Luke
prospects
Jackson.
just for Chapman, my god.
They're top 5 in my system. They're not top 5 in the MLB, obviously.
I like Mazzaro a lot. Brinson.
Can you give
I
me
could do with him.
Lorenzen?
He's almost ready there too.
Can you give me Lorenzen?
Let's see here. So, okay. I do like this deal.
With Lorenzen?
I do not like the Lorenzen part. I will go ahead and offer up instead. I will offer, let's see. Are you set on wanting a pitcher?
Yeah, because I have guys okay, our windows to wins getting smaller with our guys getting older, but I don't need necessarily like a third baseman yet or anyone like that yet.
Would you be interested in Jumbo Diaz?
Is that a real person?
It is a real person. He's a big man.
Jumbo?
He is Jumbo. His name does not lie.
Jumbo Diaz.
This is the sound of thinking.
Yes, it is. And my computer doing the rainbow thing as I click on his...
The what?
You know,
the rainbow wheeling.
Yeah.
I see. It just...
The first second I look up Jumbo Diaz, the Google's responses is Jumbo Diaz height and weight. Instead of,
are his
Jumbo
height and
Diaz
weight convincing enough for you to want him?
Let me look at him first.
Let me just see the man. Then we'll talk.
No.
No?
No. A little younger.
You want somebody younger?
Yeah.
Let's see, do you want... Alright, this is my final offer here. Do you want... Now I'm thinking about... Your demands are very unique. How about Curie Mella.
Who?
He is a prospect of mine, number 5 in my organization.
Can you spell him?
Can I spell him? Keurymella. It might be Maya.
I wouldn't trust that kind of name if I was you.
Does that not sound like a big league pitcher to you?
Seems
Curie Maya.
suspicious.
I mean, you could have had a guy named Jumbo Diaz. Come on.
Yeah, but I'd rather not. Starting pitcher or? Yeah.
I don't know. Do whatever you want with him.
You guys are very boring.
I know we are. Thank you. Forbode, make up your mind. I'm hanging up the phone.
What's the final deal? This Maya and
Chapman
for
the guy you wanted? Yeah. For your 3 prospects, it was hold on.
Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson, Mazzara, and Brinson. Deal or no deal? I'm hanging up in 3, 2, 1.
No deal.
Alright.
I'd
fine.
rather have my prospects for when
Chapman will be
my old
saved
guys.
for another team then.
Yeah.
Rudy, give input now, please.
Hello.
Hello. Clearly nothing happened. Do you think that would have been a good deal for him, or no?
Can you summarize it again? I was kind of only half paying attention.
So he would have given me Mazzara, Brinson, and Jackson, 2 outfielders that are top 4 in his organization, both top 100 overall in major leagues, and Luke Jackson is a right-handed pitcher, number 8 in their system, for Chapman and my number 5 in my system. Pitcher.
How old were the pitchers?
They're all pretty young.
I think it's okay. I think that it's always been like a wash deal. I don't know if anyone really would have won or lost.
What happened? I'm back.
I don't really know why the Rangers. I don't really think that makes sense for the Rangers. I don't think they're a team that is one. I don't know. I'm not a fan of giving up that much just for a guy who can only pitch 1 inning a game, 1 inning every 2 games. So.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I personally don't love that deal. So.
Chapman is one of the best arms out there. I think when you do see him traded, there's going to be some big prospects involved.
I mean, can I just reiterate? I think Kimbrel just went for about that price, give or take. So that probably is a fair market.
Yeah, I think he went for possibly even lower value just because the Red Sox prospects were not their system is probably not as good as the Rangers overall. So there's always that. Anyway, that's deal number 1. We're moving on to deal number 2. I am the Oakland Athletics, and Alex Rudy is the Cleveland Indians. Alright, Mr. Rudy, I am willing...
Mr. Rudy's my father.
Oh, okay. Such formalities. Can I call you Alex? Alright.
If you wish.
I am looking at Carlos Carrasco. I would like him, as well as Mike Aviles, for Josh Reddick, Danny Valencia, and Jesse Hahn.
What?
What do you mean, what?
You said a lot of people there.
I'm very intrigued.
Yes, I got intrigued.
Well, Danny Valencia was really good last year.
Yes, he was.
That's surprising. What would I need to add to get back another pitcher?
To get back another pitcher? Anybody in particular you're looking at here?
Yes, Drew Pomeranz.
I do not own Drew Pomeranz anymore. Sorry.
Sorry. My bad.
You might have to talk to the Padres about that one.
Yeah, I'm sure I could get him for a bag of peanuts from them. I'm sorry, Mike. I am very interested in that. I'm just trying to think of A's pitchers, or if I look up your roster.
What's the offer?
Okay, would you be interested at all in, like, if I gave you Lonnie Chisenhall, would that add any value that you think to the deal for you? Like, does that interest you at all? Does he bring anything to the table for you? Is what I'm trying to ask.
Not particularly, no.
Okay. I just thought it'd be worth asking. Okay. Can you add, just on the side, can you give me Samfold too?
On the side?
As a small addition.
I would be willing to add Folds for Chisenhall, actually. That would be a...
Fold for Chisenhall?
Like add both of them, respectively.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Let me see here. Okay. What about Parker? Jared Parker. What do you think of him?
Jared Parker?
Does he have an arm anymore?
I'll have to check my medical records on that one.
He's on the team.
He is technically on the team, yes he is.
So...
Would Chisenhall be involved with that one or no?
So I'm thinking Carrasco and Aviles, and you sure I have Aviles still, by the way, because I don't see him.
I don't see him. He might be a free agent, in which case I will sign him promptly. But
I didn't know you were such a big fan.
In either case, let's assume you do, and include him and Chisenhall.
Okay. Is there any okay. So, yes, so Carrasco, Aviles, and Chisenhall for Hahn, Reddick, Fold, Valencia, and Parker.
Oh, you want Fold? Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Deal.
Do you agree with that? Okay, deal.
Alright. Done deal. Forebode, let us know how we did.
I'm a big Jesse Hodden fan, so I love that the Indians that Rudy got him. I like that part of the deal. Valencia, I like that because for some reason he decided to play last year.
What?
For some reason he decided to play last year.
Okay.
Hey, he woke up and decided to actually,
okay. I misunderstood you.
Yeah.
Continue.
Carrasco. That's interesting, being the number 2 behind Sonny Gray. And then he's probably gonna be shipped off again next year to like the Blue Jays. Overall, I think it's even. I like the Indian side just a little bit better.
Okay. I mean, I think part of that Jared Parker thing is a little bit out there, but I guess. And, like, he's just out there on anybody's radar. Like, no, I'm pretty sure teams aren't even talking about him anymore.
Well, I just thought,
low risk.
I just need one more thing just to seal the deal. It's like, might as well take the flyer on a guy who has, on the off chance that he returns as a major league player.
Fair enough. Alright. Okay, I'm happy with my Carlos Carrasco acquisition though. Alright. Let's move on to our last deal. Rudy, go for it.
Okay, so I am the Colorado Rockies and you are the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I am.
And I'm offering you Jose Reyes and this guy, his first Ben Paulson for Yasmani Tomas and G. Bradley.
Oh, I really don't want to give up a pitcher right now.
You just signed a very good pitcher.
Yes, but we talked about this. I need a pitcher. I don't necessarily need pitching. I just would like pitching depth. You never have enough pitchers. You guys need pitching depth too.
We gotta put the timer on for Boat again.
Ben Paul. Why are you giving me Ben Paulson?
He was really good last year. And
Yeah, but I kind of have a first baseman already.
I mean,
Only kind of.
He can play other things.
I don't think he can.
Do you not? If you don't want him, I'll give you. If he does not interest you, I'll throw in. I'll replace him with Jorge De La Rosa. So I'll give you Jorge.
Farboat is silent now.
He's 34. I don't want a 34-year-old pitcher.
Why does it matter how old he is? You're trying to win now.
You don't know where the Diamondbacks are going. You don't know. Is there any way we could get your whole middle infield, LeMahieu and Reyes?
I mean, if you want to give me Goldschmidt, then sure.
Do it.
No.
Can I have a legitimate counteroffer?
I don't feel comfortable giving up Yasmani Tomas.
So you won't give me anything, is what you're saying.
So basically, he doesn't like any of the deal.
I don't want Reyes or your 34-year-old pitcher.
Okay, I'm hanging up. This is stupid.
I'm fine with not getting worse right now.
Go sign Ian Desmond, Farboat.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that was my input right there on that deal. Go sign Ian Desmond, Diamondbacks, Rockies. You know, actually, really quick, I just want to say my theory on what the Rockies should do. They should give up on trying to acquire power pitching, which has been their approach for the last many years now, and go all out in trying to build the best offense possible, and then worry about pitching later and fill it in with cheap ground ball pitcher type guys.
Can I ask a question? Why haven't they always just tried to sign
God bless you.
Sign Doug Fister type guys?
I don't know. I think they should. I think they should just try to bludgeon other teams to death with their offense.
They are also a horrendously ran organization.
Yes. We can agree on that.
Yes, they are.
Alright. That is it for our GM game, though. Hopefully we only got one deal done out of all three of those, but
wait, did you notice which two people were involved in that deal?
You
Wonderful.
do the math. You decide. Anyway, let's go through our teams of the week really quickly here. We have the Pittsburgh Pirates. Let's start with them. They obviously had an amazing season, and it was once again shut down in the one-game wildcard race. Successful season or no?
No.
Okay,
well, maybe
that
for
was
Pirates
quick.
fans, they don't really know what success means. But
that's true. I mean, they don't really have anything to show for it.
I would say largely no, that was not a successful season.
Okay, I'm a very positive thinker. I think any team that makes the playoffs had a successful season because it's easier said than done. Okay, let's talk about next year then. As of right now, before any other further deals made in the offseason, do they have enough to get back to the playoffs?
Not necessarily.
Yes or no? Predict.
Not necessarily. I mean,
pull out the 8 ball.
I would say no. They need a first baseman starting pitching.
Interesting.
I would say.
They do have one of the top first base prospects in all of baseball.
He's not.
Or you could look at any trade offer, such as, I know they're looking at possibly Mitch Moreland. You could look at that.
I'm talking though before any offseason moves. As of right now, are they making it back for Bode?
Yes.
Yes, they are. Okay, I have them as a yes too. I think they can get a wild card slot.
I think they can get a wild card.
I think the Cubs better.
I think that.
Okay.
That's not the question though. We're just saying
you could see repeat.
Make the second wild
I do
card.
not think that they, at this exact second, are good enough.
Okay.
Fair
But
enough.
I think they'll probably address those weaknesses by the time the season starts.
Well, let's move into our next point then. What do they need to do to get back to the postseason.
They need a first. I think
they need to not be starting Michael Morris at first base.
Yeah.
And they need one more pitcher. Or they can just take their prospects and just shove them in the majors, which is what the Cubs did to get them into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think it's also an acceptable option.
That works too. I want to talk a little bit about one of my favorite pitching prospects, Tyler Glasnow, that's finally going to be pitching in the major leagues. They've been very careful with him. They've been handling him very well so far. Moving him up at a steady pace, not trying to rush him, not doing the whole bring him up early and throw him in the bullpen type thing. They really want to just develop him as a starter. And I think, in a very short amount of time, he'll be that number 2 guy behind Garrett Cole. Even ahead of Liriano, I think. So, I like their pitching all around. First base is one of the few concerns, but that is also one of the most saturated positions right now in the major leagues. So, I don't know. They could do a number of things. They
should sign Chris Davis.
There's a lot of teams that should sign Chris Davis, but that's a very expensive first baseman to go after. I'm trying to think of any cheaper options that they could go after right now.
No, the return.
Part 3. The more knowing. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, and I mean their outfield obviously is set. They have they're set up the middle still too. In third base, Josh Harrison has been good too. So really, you're looking at one hole. Cervelli's been good behind the plate. Just gotta find a first baseman. Anything else to add? Any other interesting moves they can make?
I mean, I think they should sign like a Doug Fister.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Who's the reclamation project for this year?
They signed I forget what's his name. They just signed someone because their pitching prospect and their pitching coach finds a way to just restart people's careers. So,
yeah, they did. They did just resign a guy.
Yeah.
Who is? Do we know said guy? I don't know who you're talking about. I'll throw a name out there. How about Wei-Yin Chen?
Is he a free agent?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really think he's a reclamation project.
He's done this.
I mean, he's kind of been reclamation. He's kind of been stuck in that like static, okay pitcher state. I think they could do some good things with him.
He's fine.
That or Ian Kennedy is also another interesting one.
I think that's a fantastic one. They just got Alan Webster. Alan Webster is the guy.
Yeah, from the Red Sox, right?
Diamondbacks.
Well, close enough.
They're
both red.
Did you guys know Corey Hart was on their team last year?
Yeah.
Yep, I did. I knew that.
He was one of their guys that they tried at first.
They tried to reclaim him. I guess they can only do it with.
It's some really random guys. Him, Blanton, Ramos Ramirez, Sean Rodriguez.
Yeah, Sean Rodriguez, the famous punching water cooler scene. Will go down in history.
He's better at that than hitting baseballs.
Zing. Okay. I don't know what that was. That was a cheap shot right there. Anyway, that's all we got for the Pirates, right? I think we can agree they are a good team.
Actually,
kind of on the brink of postseason.
I'd like to add something.
Add something then.
Do you believe that? Do you guys think Gregor Polanco is a good player?
I think he is. In the scope of Major League Baseball, he is. Compared to what he should have been, no. I think he's not as good as he could have been. Yeah. I think overall though, he's still
would you rather
a good right fielder.
I ask you, would you rather have him or Aaron Hicks right now?
Polanco.
Why?
Just as good defense and slightly better bat.
There's no
better arm strength too. What?
You guys just think that because he was a higher title prospect statistically, and they're basically identical hitters, and Aaron Hicks is also an outstanding outfielder.
That's interesting.
So
yeah, the highly touted part though, it is important to an extent.
But it's just interesting that and I agree with you, I would take Polanco too, but we, for some reason, attribute a lot more trust into guys who were highly touted prospects, even if they haven't proved to be deserving of that trust, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it just has to do with, like, they have that potential to do better than they were. I think Aaron Hicks, he is a surprise. Like, he is already doing better than people expected. Polanco still is not, like, people think is not at his threshold of where he can be.
Yeah, it's quite true. I mean, Aaron Hicks was no, nothing prospect either, but
he was no Bryce Harper.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
No one was, but
except Bryce Harper.
That's true.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's move on to the Cincinnati Reds. I like this team a lot. I mean,
I think this team's one of the most
they can do a lot
teams
in a very little amount of time. You talk about a rebuilding season. This was a rebuilding season, if I've ever seen one.
I talked about this before. I don't know what you guys think of it. I just love that. I found it really cool that all their last 50 games was by rookies. And
yeah,
I don't know. I think if you're rebuilding and you have all these rookie pitchers, young guys, you could, and you don't necessarily you have spots for them. Why not give them the MLB experience like the Cubs did with Soler and Baez and those guys last year in 2014. I like that part. I like this team. One
issue is that very few of those guys were any good. So
that's kind of true.
I mean, does it help you?
They do have a top pitching prospect that wasn't part of that mix. In Robert Stephenson, and he will be up.
Pitched terrible in the minors this year.
Yeah, but highly touted prospects again. Worth something, worth looking at. Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to stockpile as much as they can and hope that something works. And I think that's not a bad way to go when you're a rebuilding team. Build up everything you can and try to make something work. And I think their core is still really good. Todd Frazier and Joey Votto are, they're some of the better players in the league. I think Todd Frazier won't be traded, and Joey Votto definitely will not be traded.
And
they got guys like
trade him.
That's why. He's got some kind of no trade thing that he can waive on his enormous $10-year contract.
I was thinking because he's 32 with a gigantic contract, but that works too.
Yeah, he has a no trade option that he can waive, and I think he said that he will. He said he will not be traded. And you have guys like Devin Mesoraco coming back. Zach Cozart, it looked like he was starting to emerge this year, and then kerplat with the leg, and then that was that. The pitching, it's interesting. Raisel Iglesias was one of the ones that people were kind of scratching their heads at. He struck out a lot of batters at sometimes and really got hit hard at other times. So, there's a lot of question marks. That's what happens when you're a rebuilding team. You have to hope all your chips fall into place. Let's give me where they finish in the NL Central next season.
Well, judging by the other NL teams, 4th, 5th.
Pick one.
Last.
Okay. I give them.
Where did they finish last year?
They finished last. I say they leapfrog the Brewers by a little bit. That's what I say.
I would have to agree with you.
I forgot the Brewers existed.
They are a team.
I forgot the.
Okay, last, ignoring the fact that the Brewers.
Last except for Brewers, so
the
4th.
Brewers are a quadruple A team. They don't count.
Okay, so I think we have them right about where they should be. Yeah. Where do you think Joey Votto finishes in the MVP race next year?
-4.
That's not a
you
ranking.
Think he's gonna win by 4 spots?
Yeah, that means he's gonna win by 5 spots over the number 1.
Yeah.
He's that good.
I love Votto, but I think when you're in a time of Bryce Harper, maybe 3rd or 4th.
I'm gonna say he has a slightly worse season statistically. I'm gonna say he finishes 7th. I love Joey Votto, but I don't think he's gonna be able to repeat his monster second half.
If he repeats it 3rd or 4th, if he doesn't, yes, which you said.
You guys,
I mean, you have to remember that there were a lot of good National League players that were injured for this year too.
you guys love a lot of players.
We do love a lot of players. We love baseball. We love baseball players. The people that play the game in the major leagues, you know? No? Ever heard of them? Yeah.
What is baseball?
What is baseball? I think that's how we end the podcast right now. What is baseball?
Ball is life.
Ball is life. That's what it is. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us today. If you have any questions or comments or feedback for us, you can leave a comment down below, or you can tweet us at WPB_podcast on Twitter. You can also email us at warandpeacebaseball@gmail.com, and we will answer anything you've got for us. And also check out our website. The link is down below. It's got all the podcasts and got some articles on there too that you can check out. Anything else? We also have a Google Doc that has all our free agent predictions for this offseason. I will link that as well if you want to check that out. We did this in a past podcast, so you can check that out as well. Check out all the things. Anyway, thanks again. As always, Farbode.
Peace.